Hello, and welcome to another episode of Courageous Exchanges. I am Joy,
And I'm Alex.
and we hope that you are having a wonderful summer because it is 1,000 million bazillion degrees. It's hot. How is it in New York?
It's super hot and it's actually been storming for the past few days in the evening, which I know has also been happening in Georgia as well. So, yeah, it's just oppressively hot.
Yes,
I'm over it. I've been hiding inside to keep cool because I don't do well in the heat and humidity.
yes.
So,
It's been storming here. We've had a few power outages. I'm over it. I'm a summer girl because of my birthday, but other than that, this heat is disgusting. But
yeah, I'm
as
not
you
a girl. I do not like summer. I do not like summer in New York. It is too hot and uncomfortable. And I am past the phase of my life where I like being outside doing all the things. So I'm much
You
more.
don't want to be playing in a hydrant eating
Um,
chicken on the corner.
no, not anymore. There was a time when I did, but we're past that. But yeah, I'm much more of a fall girl. I also really like fall fashions. Like summer fashion doesn't really do it for me as much. Also, hair gets sweated out. It's just like a lot. So not my thing.
No, I hear you. I hear
Yeah.
you. Well, as you all can see, we are obviously in our respective homes today. Um, Child, because everything is expensive. Studios are beautiful, but they cost money. Traveling is beautiful, but it costs money. So when we can be together, we will be together. And when we can't, we have the ability to record and be together virtually, which is
Absolutely.
still very special and I am grateful for.
Yes, I'm also super grateful for our time that we did have in a studio.
Yes.
It was so beautiful and it was so nice to like invite folks in and engage in them in that way. We're looking forward to doing that again in the future.
Yes. Yes.
But for now, I'm super grateful that we have this platform that I think has been doing us right and really helping us to continue to keep the good conversations going.
Yes. Yes. So one of the things that has been coming up, it came up a few months ago, but it's still on my mind. So I'll give you some backstory and then I'll go to the present or the more current present. So one time I had a client who was talking about a situation with some of her relatives, her brothers, I want to say. And at some point, she like had all these thoughts and feelings about it, big thoughts and feelings about it. And then she said, "You know what? This is not my monkey and this is not my circus." And I said, I, I don't know if you came up with that on your own. I don't know if you heard that somewhere else, but not my monkey, not my circus has become my like go-to saying because there's some times that I know like young Joy, like teenage Joy, early 20s Joy, my friends would be in a relationship and I didn't like the person. I would be like, I
Yep.
got a lot of things to say. I don't like your boyfriend, and he is this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And oftentimes, my friends did not care what I had to say, and that was still their boyfriend because shut the fuck up, Joy.
Mm-hmm.
But now fast forward, we're in our 40s or whatever. We're late 30s is probably the range of all my friends now, and sometimes I still have thoughts and feelings about people's partners. And depending on the relationship, I might express it. But the reality is, it's not my monkey and it's not my circus. And what goes on
Right.
in someone else's house doesn't really affect or impact me. But why do I feel like I gotta say something?
Well, I think, first of all, that a lot of the times as friends, you take on a lot of the experiences of the people that you love and like the people that you're calling your friends to.
Right.
And so, like, when you see them doing something or, being in a relationship per se that isn't really meeting their needs or isn't really as strong as you think it should be, like, you almost feel like it's your job to help them see it, right? I think that's really what it is. And that's a struggle because, like, everyone's processing and everyone's timing is different.
Right.
and people's vision for their lives is different. Like and I think Not My Monkey, Not My Circus is like something that I've been dealing with quite a bit too, and that I've been hearing a lot, especially, when I talk to people about like work and stuff like that. Like, it's kind of like get somebody else to do it.
Right.
I kind of equate those two. But yeah, I think ultimately it's like we love hard, right?
Yeah.
And I think as like adults in friendships, and relationships and all of that, like a lot of the time, like we get very invested in people's stuff.
Because I think I know that's it. I get very invested. Like if I fuck with you, if I consider you a friend, I want the best for you. And I think in the last probably like year and a half, the struggle has really been like, Joy, just because that's the best for you, that doesn't mean that that's the best for that person, or that's what they want for their life. You don't know everything. There's this woman named Passport Cuddy, or that's her Instagram name. I don't know if that's her real name, or I'm sure that's not her real name. And she has this thing about Leos, and it's like Leos always think they know better than you. Leo women always think they know better than you, and they're like, your life is boring. Let me add some glitz and glamour and sparkles. You're doing it wrong. Let me do it. And sometimes I feel like that, like, oh my God, you're living your life wrong. Come, let me fix it up for you.
It's so true.
But it's not my job.
I think
just because I think it's the best or the right thing, this is somebody else's journey, because somebody might feel the same way about my stuff.
It's true. And I think that now, especially like where we're at in our growth and development, something that I think about often is like, I'm very sensitive now to people's experiences. I know you've often called me an empath. And I don't know like all the like deets of like what being an empath entails, but I will say that like I'm very affected by other people's energy. And like, if I get into a hard conversation with someone, or if someone shares a story with me about something that's hurting them, or a hard experience that they've had, I think about it all day. And I also feel the need to like try to help them through it, or like talk to them about.
So like, you become a fixer. Like that's your thing. Like I'm like, let me design it for you. And you're like, here's some resources.
Yeah.
And here are the tools. And I made this phone call, and I made this.
And like, here's an experience that I've had that could help you, that you could connect with, and here's how I got out of it.
Right.
Some resources that I've used. And I think that also comes from like the fact that I do a lot of coaching. So like in my regular life, I gotta be careful that I don't seep into that coaching role. Because it's true, it messes with me, and I got to start really being mindful of it's not my monkey, it's not my circus. I cannot impose my will or my way of living on others, but it takes real work. It really does.
It does. I think for me, and I want to know what you think too, of course, I think for me, sometimes it feels like the lines get blurred, or there's a fine line between like, not my monkey, not my circus, and like, my friend is my monkey. This is not my circus, but this is my monkey in some ways. And like, I want to intervene because I don't want and this is like friends, family, just people I know. I don't want people to be in dangerous or unhealthy situations or get harmed in any way, because people are not well.
Yes, I do agree with that. But I do think that something that I've noticed is there's the disappointment that comes when you think about things that way. And when you see your friend as your monkey, and even though that's not my circus, but like I'm here and I'm fully invested in this, particular person,
right?
It creates a road to disappointment. And I think it's like, it's the expectations. Something that I read something somewhere where it was like, part of like being a well-rounded or a sophisticated person is to understand that each human is having their own experience. And the minute you walk away from having expectations for human beings is when you're truly free. And I'm like, oh,
that's real.
That's the thing, right?
Not having expectations for human beings, you're truly free.
It's true. And when you really think about it, so much of our pain and heartache and disappointment comes from having expectations of people who are having a lived experience as well.
Mhm.
And
And
that's
oftentimes, like with the whole, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
Mhm.
off, but I think about like when people who like take things so personally, and I'm like, a lot of, to the point of like people are having their own experiences. A lot of the times, it has nothing to do with you.
right. And
People,
that's one of the
some
four.
people are intentionally trying to hurt you and disappoint
Yeah.
you, and some people are just trying to make it day by day the same way you are.
Most of the time, and that's you talking about not taking things personally. That's one of the four agreements, right?
Mhm.
Is like understanding again that like a lot of the times the way that people show up or the decisions that they make is part of their lived experience, and it's not going to be aligned with what your expectation is for
Right,
what it should be.
right, right.
And it's so hard because you think it's your friend and you love them and you know them so well and you know everything about them, but truly you can never know everything about someone
Right.
because you don't live in their soul and in their body. And I think again, that's when that that disappointment, for me it's the disappointment, right?
When someone doesn't do the thing you've invested in, okay.
Yeah.
How do
Yeah.
you deal with that?
Well, I've been trying to teach myself to not have expectations, like
Mm,
really step away, which is hard, right? Especially, I would say, in like romantic relationships and things like that. Like, you're going to have expectations, like for the person you're in a relationship with.
right.
And I think that's a little bit different from like friendships. I
Mhm.
think for friendships, I've gotten a little bit better at it, mostly, depending on the day, where I'm just like, you know what? It's not going to look the way that I want it to look. Actually, I love you and that's fine. And this is none of my business. Like, I'm your friend and I've given what I can. But if you choose to go in a different direction, like, I can't be so invested in it that it's messing with my peace.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's keeping me up at night. It's causing me to feel disruption in my own body. That's real. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that that has been like the big area of focus for me. I think also is like I'm at a place in my life where I feel happy, right? And I feel
Yeah.
at peace mostly. And I've made a lot of changes in my life and over the past year, almost 2 years now. And I
Mhm.
want everybody to have that too, right? Again, not saying that there's a lot of hard days. There's a
Right,
lot of, hard moments, but
right.
I always like try to talk to my friends and stuff about like, hey, you know, this is temporary, or like I've had this experience too. Here's how I got out of it. Or also, I'm having a bad moment right now, right?
That's
But
real.
like,
Yeah.
this is how I'm trying to show up, or this is, me talking to you is part of like my process of sharing like how I'm trying to get better
Mhm.
at certain things. But again, it's not, that's my process. That's not going to be everybody's process. And I don't know it all. I'm just trying to get through the day like everybody else. It works for me right now, but it might not work for me in a year.
That's and that's important. I think the state is like that. Things change and people change and thoughts and opinions and mindsets also change. And so allowing yourself to give yourself that grace to be like, that used to work, but it doesn't now. I used to think that, or I used to feel that, and now I don't, and that's okay.
Hmm.
But when you say, I don't know it all, like, yes, I know that I don't know it all, but I be knowing. I be knowing. You be knowing too. I feel like, but also, it's like, I was having this conversation with my little cousin, and we were talking about like when your parents tell you about their past. And
Hmm.
not every maybe graphical detail and every thing that they've done, but something about, or something that I appreciated about the conversations outside my mom had about like dating, for example, or even like with girlfriends. Um, Not that all situations are the same or end the same, but I'm able to be like, oh, that reminds me of this thing. Or even like experiences that other people I know have had that are not my mom, but I'm able to like make these connections. And I'm like, oh, well, is this a pattern? Is this something that
Yeah.
part of this person's character versus like in the moment one-time thing, or it was a mistake, or it's something that they're working through, and like I just have to be more patient with my patient with, or not having the expectations in this person doing or not doing this thing. Um, so again, it's not like that you know everything, but I do think that sometimes other people's experiences can be helpful.
Yes, I agree with that. Now, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Do you think that there are times where you need to show up with a listening ear
Yes.
as opposed to a counseling ear or a coaching ear or a this is the right way to do it ear? Because
Yes.
how do you decipher between the two?
That's a great question. I think when I'm being cognizant of it, I'll ask, like, are you just venting? You want me to say something? Um, I think when I'm not, sometimes I do, and depending on who I'm talking to, sometimes I think I jump into like,
Mhm.
here are my thoughts and opinions. Um,
Yup.
well, I think that that
I told you last week.
I knew that was going to happen. Why are we surprised? So sometimes I think sometimes it's a spectrum. Sometimes it's like, do you want me to say a thing, or you just want to vent? Because sometimes I just want to vent. Sometimes I don't want anyone to say something. And if I'm venting and someone is like, well, that was stupid anyway. Now I got an attitude. Now I'm mad at you. Now whatever I just told you don't even matter anymore.
Mhm.
Um, but sometimes Shady Joy comes out and she's like,
Yep.
because we thought something was going to be different this time.
Yep.
And I know that for some people, I think that's not helpful. For some people, I think it could be, because I don't. Sometimes you just need a mirror,
I
but I
don't
don't
know.
have to be the one to hold the mirror up.
Exactly. I think for me, I've been trying not to show up with the coaching ear all the time. Like really just trying to listen. And the reason, believe it, is probably a selfish one, is because I don't want to take it on. So,
I think that's the best reason to not take on
yeah,
to just be like, oh wow, and so you don't have. It doesn't become your job.
exactly. So I'm like, you know what? I'm working on not taking things on. And so I'm just going to show up and listen to what you have to say, be empathetic, but like it's not my job to fix this problem for you. Now, if you come to me and ask for help explicitly,
Right.
then I could kick into that coaching mode. But like right now, just like of where I am, I've been really trying to focus more so on just listening as opposed to fixing, because
Okay.
fixing is exhausting,
And if it's
especially
starting to
when you go
feel
back
like
and
work.
break the shit all over again next week.
So I think sometimes it does, and like I don't like when people are like, "Oh, you sound like a therapist," or "You have your social work voice on."
Mm-hmm.
But I sometimes wonder if my profession was different, would people still receive it the same way? Because I feel like I talk to people of all different types of professions, and I think when you're having like a genuine, empathetic experience with somebody, it does sound a little
Yeah.
social worky, fluffy.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I do. I think I will. I think that's the thing that I need to do, is just be more aware, or ask more. Like, what do you need in this moment? Like,
Yeah.
what would be helpful? But I think also on the other side of that is like sometimes people need to be honest with that. I think sometimes people share things and they maybe they haven't had set the personal expectation of like, why am I telling Joy this, or why am I telling Alex this? Am I telling them this because I just want them to listen, or am I telling them this because I want them to do a thing?
And I think that's the important part of the conversation too, is like really kind of almost setting the expectation. Like,
Yeah,
what is it that you want?
yeah.
And I think often, like for me, when I'm going into coaching mode, like I'll often say, like, here's why I'm here. And
Mhm.
I'd love to hear from you. Like, what are you looking to get out of today's interaction?
That's how I start with new clients too.
Exactly, right? So it's like just to like keep the other person at the center of the convo, and also for you not for me not to impose my views on
Right.
you, because I know that, and a lot of the things that I do and the way that I run my life day to day is not the way that other people want to live, and it's not what other people want to do. And I never want to be seen as a know-it-all either, right? Because I
Mhm.
don't know, I'm figuring this shit out, trust
Yeah,
and
that's
believe.
true. Yeah.
And so for me it's like I always get like my shoulders tense up anytime like someone's like, well, you got it all figured out. I'm like, that's a very slippery slope, because I need some grace a lot of the time, you know.
That's a really good point because people do sometimes assume that people do
Yeah.
have it together, whether they're because they're not saying it or
Mm-hmm.
in their world that they do see, it looks like everything is perfect. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a terrible assumption to make about folks.
It really is. Do
Or
you?
like, and like, because they got it together and they got it figured out, you could come put your stuff on them.
Absolutely. Do you ever feel like it's hard for people to see you in need of help or in need of support because you appear to have it all figured out and because you spend
Oh
much
yeah.
of your time counseling others?
I think in certain spaces, I think with the people who are my real support system, no. Because I feel like I'm able to say like I'm struggling or like
Hmm.
today's a hard day. And that might not always come out the moment that I start to feel it. Cause sometimes I still get into my head of like, just figure it out. Like you could do it by yourself. But I find that when I say something, like my group is supportive, I do find that other people, I've tried to say stuff, or I not tried, I have said stuff and I've had an expectation of support,
Hmm.
and maybe that was too broad of what I expected. And what I think they thought they were giving was support, and what I thought they were giving was clearly you can't handle any of my big feelings, so I won't bring them to you.
Mm.
Which then kind of like makes a relationship a little bit more surface. If I
Yeah.
can't come and be like, I am I'm really excited about this thing and come celebrate with me, or like I'm really struggling right now. It's and I know everybody can't be there for that, but like it's harder for me sometimes to have relationships with people when I feel like I'm just being like a surface person.
Yeah, I understand that. And more, I feel the same. I think that I've even spoken to you about that. Like, it's really hard to not be able to step into your full self because, and I think that us having this platform has really pushed
Mhm.
me to be very cognizant of authenticity in relationships, interactions,
Mhm.
when I'm showing up in my as my most authentic self, when I don't feel like I'm showing up as my most authentic self. And I find that one of the times that I feel stressed or anxious, because
Yeah.
I do deal with a little bit of anxious feelings,
Mhm.
is when I feel that I can't be my authentic self, or if it feels unsafe.
Mhm.
That's when again my shoulders will tense up and like I get stressed out over
Mhm.
it. And
Yeah.
I think that the friendships and the exchanges that I have with people is a big trigger for that. So like if I feel that I can't really like lean into who I am, what I'm feeling, what I want to do, what I want to talk about, how I want to, show up,
Right.
that's a trigger.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel
And
you.
more and more, that's very, very difficult to deal with on a daily basis. Very difficult.
It makes me not want to show up personally.
Mm. Mm.
Or if I have to show up, I am very strict, I would say, on like what my boundaries are. I'm
Mm.
here for an hour, I'm here for a night, I'm here for
Yep.
10 minutes because
Yep.
I'm not overextending myself and feeling uncomfortable to make somebody else feel comfortable. I'm not doing that anymore.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel like there's a sense of freedom in that, right? Like I feel like to be able to say, like, right now I in this space, like, I feel safe and I feel like I could be my full self, and I can, listen to you and what your experiences are and have authentic exchanges or courageous exchanges. That's a beautiful thing, right? And then it's not stressful. Then I might be, more open to, taking on your monkey and your circus.
Or I'm not taking it on, but like maybe I'm the ticket person at the circus, and
Okay.
I'm a support person.
Okay.
I don't
I'm
want to take on.
happy
I
to
don't
support.
want to run the circus.
Okay, we're not running it, but I'm more.
What is it? Barnum and Bailey? Was that
No,
what it was
we're
called?
not. Are they racist? Is
Probably,
something racist happening with them? I feel like something racist happening.
probably because the circus is.
Yeah, I mean the circus ain't even a circus anymore. Apparently, there's no animals.
Because it's not.
It's not nice to the animals.
Not nice to them.
But what's the circus without animals?
The Universal Circus is dancing. I think they got animals. I feel like they got elephants.
I hope they have.
It's definitely dancing.
Of course, they're gonna dance.
Right foot now, y'all. Cha-cha, real smooth. That's
Well, why I gotta go to the circus? I could do that anywhere.
in your damn living room.
Do they incorporate the animals in the dance? Ain't no animals.
I went to the Universal Circus probably 15 years ago.
Yeah, you did.
Probably, maybe not 15, maybe like 10 years ago.
What were you doing there?
I happened in the Barnum and Bailey or Ringling Brothers or whatever it was.
Oh, Ringling Brothers. Yes.
With the like glow thing. So
yeah. Anywho.
But
I forgot. Well, we were talking about taking on, and we're not taking it on. We just the ticket master at the circus, if it's a safe space.
If it's a safe space.
If it's a safe space, but not all the time.
Yeah, not all the time. It's too much.
It's
too much, and I got my own stuff, my own damn circus over here.
Do you have exchanges with people where you feel like it's the same conversation every time, and it's like I'm like, how does this friendship or how does this relationship move forward, or does it? Because I'm just not in a place of stagnation right now. Like, I'm just like, we all have problems. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the solutions.
Right.
And then I want to be talking about a different problem next month.
Right. Or like
some different solutions. If the problem isn't solved, let's be still talking about different solutions. But I don't want to be talking about the same problem and no solutions, nothing that you've tried.
Because that's the thing that frustrates me is when, on a personal and professional level, is when people have the problem, you offer tools, solutions, support, and then they come back and they have not tried it and they're still like, it doesn't work. Well, you didn't try anything. And again, like, if something's not working, try something else. Everything is not, and something might work one time and doesn't work the next time. I feel like with this whole job market, people are looking for jobs has looked very different for people than it did in the past. And so if going on a website and applying for jobs isn't working, is there more you can do?
Exactly.
Can you ask somebody? Can you network? Can you go back to school? Can you take a certification? Like, are there other steps that can be made? But if you keep just being like, I can't find a job, I ain't apply for none, but I can't find a job. Like,
no,
that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Or like, I am not in my, I'm trying to figure out my own life era. But when I talk about like wanting to date, but also not wanting to do the work. But every conversation is not like, I just really want to date, but I don't want to do the work. Like, girl, shut up. Yeah. Or
do something.
Or stop talking about it.
Or keep it to yourself. That's fine too. Because guess what? Sometimes we're not ready to solve the problem yet. And that's fine.
You need to go write it down and talk.
Write it down. And then go back and read it. Every few days, go back and read it over, reflect, or not. Because guess what? It's none of my business. unless you really don't have to do anything
Right.
besides not drive me crazy with the shit.
That's it. Yeah, but I just feel like, and I feel like a lot of the things that come up in our episodes is like, it's the work that people are doing. So if you're not doing the work, I don't want to hear about it. If you're doing it, like if somebody is like, yo, I've been grinding and hustling
Yeah,
and doing this, and this, and it's just not landing,
yeah,
I'm more likely to like listen and want to be supportive,
yes,
want to brainstorm ideas than if
yes.
somebody's like, it's just crazy. Like nobody's hiring me. Have you applied for you applied for a job today? Now I
Mm-hmm.
ain't applied for a job in like 2 months.
Why?
Sounds like you just want to sit in this situation and complain about it.
Mhm.
And I think that that's it.
If there's something else going on, let's have that conversation,
Right.
right? Because
Right.
sometimes it's that what we're seeing in front of us is a symptom of something else.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
like, let's just dig into it and let's really figure out what's going on here. But
Mm-hmm.
if not, if you don't want to do that,
Mm-hmm.
you're allowed.
Yes.
Keep me out of it.
Yes. Keep that shit to yourself now.
Call me when you're ready. Call me when you're ready to talk. Like to have a real conversation because and
Yeah.
I've been working on this, but I am a Sag.
A
I
spicy
am a Haitian woman. And so if you want to hear the truth, I will tell it to you. I will tell it to you. Even if you don't want to hear, I think that I've gotten a little bit like more sensitive and toning things down and like, again, understanding that this is not my business and,
Mhm.
to sit down and be quiet. But if you say, I'm coming to Alex because I need to hear the truth, oh, you're going to get the truth.
And that's the thing I love and appreciate so much about you is that I will. Like, I feel like
not the person you should call. And I own that. If you need love and affection and sensitivity, I'm probably not the person to call.
I just remember, I think about when I, was in a moment of temporary insanity in the year 2020. Like a lot of people, 2020 was a difficult year for the folks. Mm-hmm. And I just remember I would call you or text you and I'd complain or I'd have a feeling and you'd be like, but you know what it is. And you continue to put yourself in a situation and you know what it is. So it's you didn't say this, but it was one of those like play stupid games, get stupid prizes. Yeah. So it was like, okay, if I'm continuing to play stupid games and I go to Alex, she's going to tell me that I'm gonna get a stupid prize. Mm-hmm. And there are other people that the people in your life. There's other people you can go to who are like, I mean, is it stupid or is it, there's people who might coddle you a little bit more. But I appreciate and I think this is part of, I think for me, what made me feel closer to you is because I knew that you were going to be honest with me. And I know that like, it's not your monkey nor your circus, but if I come to you and I say, do you like the design? You're going to be like, bitch, no. It's bad and it's mid and you are worth more than that. So maybe go back to the design board and come with something different. And like, even if it hurt my feelings, and I don't even know that I don't think it ever hurt my feelings. I think it was like, I already knew the answer to that too, or I felt similar. And I knew you were going to tell me what I probably needed to hear. So I appreciate it. I don't really want, and not everybody's opinion.
Yeah, we don't want everybody's opinion. No.
And I don't want unsolicited advice either.
No.
But there are a group of people whose opinions I do value. And so I want to know how I am showing up and how they are seeing me because I care. Like because sometimes it's not what's being said, it's who's saying it. So if somebody else is like, I think Joi, blah, 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 I might be like, I don't care what you think and say. But if you want to be like, hey, Joi, da 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 da, I'll be like, okay, like, I need to like really reevaluate because somebody who is close to me and who I value and who I know values me feels this about me. I need to work on that.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. I think yes to all of that. And something that I've also heard, and I kind of like how it sounds too, is like, other people's opinion are really none of my business. Like, unless it's somebody I love, I really don't care what you think of me. You know, of course, I don't go through life wanting to hurt anybody or to make anyone feel bad about themselves or
Right.
anything like that. But something that I have learned, you know, about like stepping away from people pleasing and really developing a stronger self image is the
Yeah.
fact that, like, listen, when you're doing things, everybody's not going to love it. And that's okay. That's okay.
You are not for everybody, and everybody is not for you. Is my favorite quote. And
Everybody's
some,
not your bestie.
yep, yep. And everybody's not gonna like you.
And everyone's not gonna like you, and that's okay. If you moving with clean hands and a clean heart,
Mm-hmm.
then guess what?
Mm-hmm.
You
Yep.
know, and when you stand on something, you're bound to hurt some feelings. If you don't stand for anything and you all surface, then yeah, probably people are gonna love you, right? But like,
Yes.
it's not real because you still not being your authentic self, and you don't stand on nothing. And who wants that?
Period.
So
Yep.
that's the thing.
That's real. That's real because that wanting to please people, that wanting people to like you can really get you in a situation of like you lose yourself, you have no identity, and you just out here trying to please people, and the whole time you miserable.
Yep.
And they don't give a fuck about you.
They don't give a fuck. All you doing is running around and really just trying to, again, fill everybody else's bucket.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you don't even have a bucket. You don't, you don't
Because
even.
you done gave your bucket to somebody last week because theirs got a hole in it.
That's right. That's right.
I remember in, oh God, I think it was the seventh or the eighth grade, this girl, growing up was so hard. People are so mean. But people like the school I went to went from pre-K to 12th grade. So it was a range of ages. So there
Mhm.
were some older kids who were not nice to this girl. She was new to the school. And after school one day, she bought anybody who was outside pizza. I'm
Oh,
sure she paid a lot of money. Like, even if she paid $20, $20 instead
yeah,
of paying a lot of damn money.
yeah.
And people said people took that pizza and walked away and was still mean to her the next day.
Yep, yep.
And it was so sad
So sad.
because that still happens now
Hmm.
to people. Is you give your all, you give your last, you give so much to people because you just want them to see you and hear you, and they like, I don't give a fuck about you.
That's right.
And you gotta like know who you are, build that self-worth so that if you're in those situations, you're able to identify like this person is not here because they
Hmm.
genuinely care about me. They're here because they can take and they can get.
Yeah. That makes me think about the term self preservation
Mhm,
and selfishness.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
And I have been thinking about, and I know that, like, to myself, I've been saying, like, self preservation is okay. It's not a bad thing,
So,
right? And I'm still trying to unpack, you know, some of the nuance between self preservation and selfishness.
mhm,
Because I think in my mind, like,
mhm.
spoiled
Yeah,
is something that we really need to dig into and figure out, like, what's going on with the term selfish versus
mhm. I think
self-preservation.
selfish gets a terrible rap. I think being selfish is self-preservation. And again, I don't think being selfish means you only think. I think only thinking about yourself is self-centered. I think
Mm,
selfish is like, what do I need?
mhm.
Now let me think about the other people. How does
Yeah,
that? Because I don't think people who are selfish are necessarily like mean and nasty and
yeah.
evil. Self-centered, maybe.
I'm trying to really, like, get clearer on the term because I think that it's something that we throw around very often, but I don't
Used to
know.
put people down.
Yeah, it's a negative term that you use to, like, come at people, and I'm trying to figure out exactly, like, what the nuance is between the two so
Mm-hmm.
that I can decide if I'm getting rid of that too, along with spoiled.
Yes. Ooh. Yes.
Yeah. So I think again, when we talk about like not my monkey, not my circus, it's really being able to step back and let people have their experiences,
Mhm.
while also protecting our peace,
Mhm.
our sanity, and ensuring that we feel good to do the
Right,
things that we have to do.
right. And if you want someone to be a part of your circus, it's okay to say, like, I need you to give it to me real and
Yeah.
like be honest with me. Am I bugging or am
Yeah.
I crazy? Whatever.
Hmm.
Because and I think that's okay. And I think you also again know who that person is that you can get that from and feel safe and secure doing it. It could be a friend, it could be a family member, it could be a therapist, it could be your journal. Maybe that's not talking back to you necessarily. So never mind, that's your journal, but
Absolutely.
something. But also, if you are a person who is always inputting your 2 cents, ask next time, like, is that what you want?
Exactly. And understand that when you're imposing your expectations on people,
Mhm.
you're setting yourself up for some disappointment unless that person has explicitly reached out for your help, your advice, and your guidance. And even then, you might still be disappointed.
Mhm.
So, you know, let
Yeah,
people live their lives, chill.
I know. Yeah,
It
'cause it's not your monkey and not your circus.
ain't. It ain't.
Continuing that the rest of the year and beyond because figure out my own damn life.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all for listening to another episode. Please be sure to follow us on Instagram at Courageous Exchanges. If you want to chat with us, send us a question or a message, you can email us at courageousexchanges@gmail.com. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. People will tell me they've watched, and I'm like, but where is your like?
Yes. Also, but I will say we've been enjoying the comments. So keep the
Yeah,
comments
yeah.
coming.
I love the comments.
Yes, keep those comments coming on our
And
Instagram.
thank y'all for engaging with us too.
Yes, yes. Keep that engagement up. Keep it coming. We do read them, laugh at them,
Mhm.
share them, and take them into consideration. So please, please keep those coming too. We're enjoying that.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank y'all for being on this journey with us.
Yes. A lot of twists and turns, but it's going well. So we thank y'all so much. And remember to live a courageous and authentic life. Bye-bye.
Bye.